has stagnated a little bit recently, but now's the time, if any, where we might see some innovation. Of course, that could be kickstarted in the ban phase. We've seen Thatcher still prominent in this meta. Maybe that trend will continue here on the attack, but I'm expecting QConfirm maybe to go something a little bit spicier. Of course, they are a very spicy team. We're probably expecting their picks at least to be quite interesting. And Nomad off the board. Look at that. That's probably going to indicate some aggression, I would think, from this team, and they don't shy away from that.
For sure. This is the thing that we like and we love and we know about these Thai teams, particularly QConfirm and Xavier. They love that aggression. They thrive in the chaos. Now, QConfirm, not quite extreme that we would expect from Xavier, but still very much the case. Wildcard at the polar opposite one have always been known as the Oceanic team that plays the most rigid, the most methodical, and they've been so damn good at that for such a long time. We'll see whether Salix can fit back to his old shoes, but there you go, Thatcher and Mirror, two very classic bans for any viewer of Rainbow Six at an esports level, or even in ranked these days. Those two are staple bans as well. And Wildcard, they like to just eliminate those big, like for example, Thatcher, he's a catch-all operator. You just throw down the EMP, you don't worry about anything, and I think that plays into Wildcard's playstyle. But that castle ban is not something I would ever expect.
Yeah, Castle's an operator that doesn't really see a whole lot of bans. Sure, gets played quite a bit here and there on particular sites, Cafe no exception. I'm thinking that maybe that suggests QConfirm to lean into the Aruni on defense, as that's, I guess, a cuss-ish substitute if they want to go for that, whereas Wildcard may not be as comfortable with that decision. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, already some interesting operator picks, Dev. We've got Gridlock shown here by Wildcard alongside the Amaru. Keep in mind, only one of those can be exchanged out in the 6th pick phase if they so desire. And those are two operators that don't really see a whole lot of play.
Just a little bit of a tease there with the Amaru. There is one particular Amaru strat that people like to do on Cafe. We've seen Wildcard do it before. It is yeeting up through that window. A lot of people call it heaven. It's the cocktail balcony window. And that can be seriously damaging if you pull off a strategy like that. But Wildcard were just teasing it. That Gridlock, well, the Nomad's banned, right? So you flank watch operators, you're basically looking at either Nomad, Gridlock, or Zero. And Zero requires someone to actually be watching those cameras in order to hold those flanks. So I think Gridlock's just a nice way to slow down those flanks, give you a bit of warning without having to be on those cams.
Already seeing an interesting setup here from QConfirm, actually electing to double reinforce the washroom walls and go for the more traditional 90 hold. Off the back of the Wamai and the Jaeger changes, a lot of teams have decided to play that a little bit more loosely and a little bit more deeper in towards the white hall, but they are just straight up going with the default strat of the shield right at 90 and might post up the likes of Producer Boom there, MPX with the 1.5. And I don't know if that'll really work. If Wildcard, I feel like, as we mentioned earlier, are a really methodical team and they're not going to let things like that slide, so keep an eye on that for the mid-round.
Outside of the Rex, Omen Gauntlet from Wildcard and the Thai Operations League from QConfirm, we haven't seen a lot from these teams in this new meta. People talked a lot about it. Everyone called it the 22nd meta. I like to call it the util sync meta. It was when we had all those shields and the ADSs, my mags, and you can see QConfirm is still trying to lean into that. They've got a lot of bulletproof gadgets. You've got the shield on the Warden, and you have the, and that's a pixel, obviously, very classic spot here on Cafe, and you have those Malusis. But Wildcard have a lot of utility to sync through that, so I'm pretty confident with that Jaeger and my nerf that this should be pretty breezy for Wildcard to deal with that position.
Well, they'd have the operators to do so. Pat posted up on the window, can use the lifeline concussions to burn ADSs and then of course blow it up. Flashes as well on the board if they so desire, and I think they've already cleared it. At least Producer Boom has been forced back, I believe. Pat's still sending in concussions as the shield might still be staying. It's almost impossible to see from the window. It's placed quite deep there by QConfirm, and maybe Wildcard will have his crew in this than we anticipated.
Yeah. Really, it has been a struggle so far. Those two ADSs are still active, and as you can see in the top left-hand corner of the screen, there are 2 grenades left, 2 smokes. Now, I'm not sure whether we still have any explosives or concussions from the Zephyr, but getting a little bit utility to clear those ADSs, plus destroy the shield, but doesn't matter, I guess, if you just land the shot. Now, Geo is traded, but Black Colas critically takes that position.
Yeah, QConfirm really putting a lot of effort into holding this position. Often, with a minute to go, teams would be happy to just fall back, maybe play the top of the white stairs if they still want to try and control that side of the map. But QConfirm want boots on the ground. Wildcard will ignore it, at least for now. They have the angle from default over towards that position for the cross, and Salix, in fact, has made it quite deep. Like Colosso, he's still lurking, he's still close.
Salix, the man of the hour on the other side. The coach, he hasn't played for a long time, looking to swing. Lycolis holding firm on the shield. Pat finds his head. There we have it, a 3 versus 3, a quick trade back, and here comes Salix, the final X-Karos pellets remaining. Detonate to enable a deep angle.
Salix, what's he going to do here? Lurking, trying to find a pick through the holes that he's created in towards the freezer area. Producer Boom still playing underneath the skylight as the smokes come out. He can activate his ability. He won't get flashed. He can see through the smokes. If they drop, they're dead. Timer continues to tick down. Salix tries to stick the plant. Where's the denial? Emorin just decides to dive down as Pat finds his double in the round. There's only one member left here. He's taken care of as well. Emorin goes huge from the skylight, and Wildcard will take round 1.
What a play from Emorin to drop down the skylight, and it is that only Wildcard, nay Athletico duo from Emorin and Salix to clutch out the round at the end of it. What a sight to see. Who would have thought in 2021 we would see that duo in the server wreaking havoc against some Asian teams? You love to see it.
Yeah, if you had to tell me that a week ago, I would have told you you're crazy, but it's a reality, and I think that's such a cool storyline. Emorin and Salix, it's been so long since these two played professionally together. I think it would have been, like 2.5 years, 3 years maybe?
I'm going to get up Salix's Wikipedia page and confirm this, but it would have been when Diesel joined the team. He replaced Salix. That was way back when Taboo disbanded. Actually, it was a little bit before Taboo disbanded. So, man, it has been a long time. Look at this. Last time Salix has played... Oh, no, this is... Wait, as a coach. Here we go. As a player, the last time he played was in Pro League Season 9 under the August banner back in 2019. Just ago. Yeah, about almost exactly 2 years ago to this very month. What a time it's been. And since then, Salix has had a massive downgrade. He's just been playing ranks with you and I, which is...
I was going to say that was an upgrade.
Definitely.
You took it from me.
Definitely not a good practice your seat skills to play with the casters.
I think it's the best way, especially against Thai teams. If you think about ANZ ranked versus Thai competitive teams, it's basically the same. They both just run around not knowing what they're doing. Well, they do know what they're doing, but it's very unpredictable. So I think Salix has had the best training ever leading into this, and he could have a big game. Watch out for him.
And to be serious for a minute here, Salix was always a very strong player. Now, he was really not a player you would highlight for his mechanical skill, but from seeing Salix play and from playing alongside him, you just really start to appreciate Salix is an enabler. He enables you and your teammates to get the job done. He's just so vocal, and he'll always support you. If you're saying, oh, can someone watch this drone for me? Salix is the first person to say, yeah, I've got it. And if Salix wants to make the play, you're going to know about it, you're going to hear everything, and that's why he's so great to play with.
Pat to get the opening pick in this round. That's Dark taken down. The Wamai no longer in play, so those discs can no longer be regenerated. Trying to work out where he found that pick from. I think it was just the white hallway from outside the vents. So that's a nice one. And he almost actually finds a second there as QConfirm tried to refrag it. But they're happy now to just settle down and try and play in the 5-on-4.
So for the Thai now, trying to fight back. The reading bomb site will be a difficult one to hold, start losing that man advantage, because there are certain avenues that the attackers can push up by stairs, through mining, the top floor. So many things to cover. Let's see if Wildcard can start to exploit this man advantage established for themselves.
Well, the goal here for Wildcard really is to transition this control from the western side of the map over towards Lounge, over towards Cocktail on the opposite side, and Pat is really helping his team, finding 2 in the round. He follows it up onto Lycolis, leaving only Producer Boom and Roldini alive. Both of those players likely need to play on the first floor, or the second floor rather. And Producer Boom is going to find himself in a whole world of hurt very, very soon. He does find one there onto Vinny, but it's a constellation prize at this stage. Wildcard have a minute to work with to close it out.
And they will do just that. Emorin to put that under lock and key. Wildcard, a very dominant second round. Things have certainly looked good for them. Diesel who?
Oh, too soon.
Yeah, it probably is a bit too soon.
I mean, I was actually tossing up my prediction quite a bit heading into this matchup. I first went wildcard, then I heard the news and I was like, maybe Q confirmed. And then I flip-flopped again and I was like, oh, wildcard, you know, Salix is a banging player. That might be all right. And so far I'm happy I stuck with wildcard because they've actually been looking quite strong.
I think the thing that we haven't talked about, but is having a big impact on this round, is actually the roster change on behalf of QConfirm. So we already talked about going in that this is both teams bloodied from a player ripped out from their roster, and yeah, of course, you know that from Wildcard it was Diesel, Salix subbing back in. But for QConfirm, it was Healthcare, who was, I believe, the fourth highest rated player in APAC North Stage 2 last year. He was the star frag on his roster. He was a great entry, and he's also one of the longest running players for this team. And he's focusing on university studies, I believe he said in his tweet. And so, fortunately, they're not just grabbing someone off the street, they're playing with Dark, who already has played a couple of games with QConfirm, as last year they were running a bit of a six-man roster. Dark, Raldini, and Hajime all kind of rotating out, rotating back in. Well, this time you've got all three of them, but Healthcare's missing, and I think that's, well, I think it's evidence so far that QConfirm are not performing to expectation, and perhaps that's a driving reason behind that.
I feel like you could make the argument maybe in like E or in A, if one of your taggers leave, the rest of the team can sort of step up a little bit in that department and find those picks. Team like QConfirm are very reliant on their aggressive frag-heavy playstyle. They're not necessarily as rigid as some of the other regions, so they need players on their team that can win ones. That's the way they like him. So Dark is under a bit of pressure to try to fill that role. Unfortunately for him, his stats last year weren't amazing, but I think he has a great opportunity now to prove himself to his team and to the region that he deserves to be here.
So for now, it's a bar defense once again, failed in the round by QConfirm, though it was skin of their team. Wildcard clawed that one back. Desperate last-minute drop down the skylight. Now this position at Pixel is everything. See how long Raldini can hold it for. If he falls, whether Dark can replace him. Wildcard not putting much pressure as of yet on this piano side, and a lot of players downstairs. This, to me, guys, are starting to like it might be an east side push. Typically, you have players go underneath, and well, okay, well, Vinny went underneath, and now he's put in the dirt.
Yeah, approaching from this side of the map from underneath, a little bit more unorthodox, but by no means super duper rare, as Salix gets lit up from that C4. It'll be up to Wildcard to try and clear these players, maybe get going over towards the rappels, and if they want to completely ignore Pixel, then they can. They might have to play up the skylight as well to try and facilitate that, and I mean, you can see already, QConfirm, they're ready for this. Raldini's already rotated over towards shop, and no one's even playing that shield, so I'm really liking that QConfirm are playing on their toes, and they know what Wildcard are trying to do.
That is the east side push. Wildcard circling on these east rappels, Pat underneath, looking to displace these positions. A minute left.
Producer boom. Double in the round. That's Pat taking the clutch players for Wildcard. Starts to look a little bit dicey now as they don't have any map control really. They're just trying to desperately find picks from rappels from the skylight, and I don't think that's really going to work. Emarin sends out some smokes, might go for another Hail Mary, but it could be too little too late.
They drop down the skylight, Gio in through the window, and he falls, as does Wildcard. QConfirm their first round on the map, and it is flawless.
Flawless indeed. Wildcard probably not too happy with their decision making there to go from the other side. I guess in theory it probably made sense considering they had issues clearing Pixel in the previous attempt. But quite clearly this one was definitely a lot worse. Flawless against them, so they'll lick their wounds. And if they need to attack it again in the last round of the half, then I assume they'll go for something a little bit more traditional.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, it was 2 rounds in a row now that one team has had a really significant man advantage that has just converted so easily. Remember, I think it was Pat or Gio? It was Pat in round 2 who had those 2 early picks from the white window.
Yeah.
And this time around it was Producer Boom, 2 early picks, leading to just a really shaky execute from Wildcard. I feel like if QConfirm just dig their heels in a little bit here and they don't lose those early engagements to these wildcard players, this is totally achievable from back. I mean, this lead almost negligible at this point. Wildcard might have found 2 nice attack rounds at the start, but if QConfirm can bring back their momentum, take this one, you're looking at an even half, and that momentum will have flipped.
Thanks to Marshall there earlier, Observer, for highlighting Producer Boom, playing on the Oryx. Now that's an operator that maybe if again you watch NA or EU, you probably don't see a whole lot of Oryx. Let's be honest, even the folks from OCE don't really see it a whole lot either, but teams in APAC, especially those from Southeast Asia, they love a bit of Oryx. Allows for the maneuverability around the map, throw your opponents off guard, and be unpredictable, which is really the fundamentals of their playstyle. So expect Producer Boom to get it a little bit spicy this round, and maybe try and throw it off and find a couple of picks for free.
Love to see it. Eye on him.
It did get lit up though. I know what happened.
Jeez, that's damage as well. You wouldn't want to be running through any walls at this point as the Oryx with that much HP.
It could be fatal.
Right, Wildcard haven't put a lot of pressure on the top floor yet. They're just droning for now, 40 seconds in. Info if they got. They want to take the plug pushing in. All these open hatches, you've got to be extra careful. Just because you drone in, it's clear that Oryx could jump up through the piano hatch, for example. Be hyper vigilant to make sure that doesn't happen.
And again, keep in mind that Nomad was banned out by QConfirm, so they can go for these flanks more aggressively. Sure, Emo-Rin's playing the gridlock, but those track stingers aren't necessarily as effective. Sometimes the defenders can just tank it. Of course, Producer Boom won't be able to because he's so low, but the others that are full HP might. So on that, flanks are still a great opportunity for QConfirm to retake any of the ground that Wildcard do year round.
If an air jab is a brick wall, then track stingers are a bunch of Lego blocks that you're just leaving down on the ground. Vinny looking to make the plunge in through bar. Wildcard much slower than usual. Stereotypically known as a fairly slow but thorough team. I feel like the amount of time wasted there, Wildcard's a bit behind schedule. Witherspoon takes a bit more damage, but he goes for the night. He gets away with his life somehow. Good spray though from Pat on the window. Doesn't net a kill as of yet. Look at that health on the QConfirm side. That may punish them when it comes down to the 1v1s later in the round.
55 seconds left. Producer Boom takes a tickle of damage and down a bit. Might have actually been a reset for the wall here from QConfirm, so that's quite interesting considering that you don't really reset to too much health these days like you did back in the olden days, but nonetheless, action instinct down and it's Silex and Pat left to clutch up. I just want to see Silex get his first kill on the map. Come on, mate, go big.
Tough position to push up the white hallway. Wildcard are so behind. They do not have top floor control. That's really step one of this. Pat's looking for something on the Silex, pushing separately. Actually drops downstairs to rejoin his teammate. Pat finds one traded, all on Silex, 1v4. Drop from above, and Roldini says, hello there. Drops come from Thailand as well, apparently.
Good recovery there from QConfirm. Wildcard struggling to get the entries, unable to convert the round, and that basically resets the scoreline to a piece. And this is shaping up to be quite a close match so far. I think the predictions would have suggested, at least from us, that maybe this would be a little bit leaning more heavily into Wildcard, but so far that's not really the case. So we might well see our first overtime here of APAC South 2021.
You know what's exciting about that is overtime is now scored slightly differently to how it used to be. It used to be an overtime win is just a win. Doesn't matter whether you win 7-0 or 8-7. You still get the same number of points. These days, even if you push to overtime and lose, you still get that 1 point. An overtime win is worth 2 points. And of course, if you win without overtime, it's 7, and if you lose without overtime, it's 0. But just to go back and talk about QConfirm for a minute, because obviously I think we're talking a lot about Wildcard. We know and love Wildcard. We've been passing the Ocean region for a long time, and these are very familiar faces to us. But QConfirm's a familiar faces to any APAC fans. These guys have been around for a very, very long time. Back in the SEA Pro League days, these guys were the top dogs alongside Giants. And QConfirm have actually done pretty APAC North last year. It was a bit of, they ended up not quite as high in the standings as they expected. They were kind of lower middle pack, rather middle upper pack. But more recently in the 6th Invitational, quals. They went through the open qualifiers and they made it as one of the top 2 teams alongside the Japanese Crest, and punched their tickets for those closed qualifiers, only losing to Cyclops, who, as we know, is one of the best teams in the whole of APAC. And during QConfirm's run through those SI quals, they beat Knights from OS, a team that we know has done incredible things. Just beat Elephant, also beaten Wildcard in the past as well. So for QConfirm to take down Knights, and especially in the 7-0 fashion that they did on Clubhouse, I think that we have a lot of reason to believe that QConfirm, they're a strong team and they shouldn't be underestimated here in APAC.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I think they set themselves up for a nice 2021, as you mentioned, with those SI Quals results. But even APAC North, they actually finished off quite strong there. It was a very, very tail end. Sure, it was a little bit of that case of, again, too little too late. I still think when they hit that 6th gear, hit that final gear or 7th gear, they can be a really strong team. So, as you mentioned, don't underestimate them in this region. They could do something special.
Cover your ears.
Here comes the utility drain. As you can see in the top, just an addition of all of Wildcard utility. A lot of it drained, no more stuns left, still some frags, but the shield has been destroyed. That could be followed up with a nade. That ADS has just been reactivated, both hacks, so he's safe from nades for now. Worried about drones though, he's really stubborn, Roldini, hitting through this corner. He's got some support as well. Eventually backs on out, keeps his life forward as well.
I would say that's probably a success, though. More than half the round has been drained, and some of that utility as well from the side of Wildcard. In fact, they have no flashbangs left, but they do have a couple of nades. Hajime, meanwhile, will find Emo Rinse. That's Gridlock taken down, and Flank Watch now becomes an issue for the attacking side. They need to be careful of that tie aggression if QConfirm try to go for something late round. Again, keeping in mind that Wildcard will want control above to get Vert on the site, which is exposed to those rotations late round from the deep.
Here comes Pat. He's been keen on the entry. Pat and Geo, the young duo on this roster. Very hot frag of them. Pat also, very smart player, very communicative. Here comes the vertical game from Geo, opening up floor. Producer walks straight under it. Is he he's on the floor below, actually. So
no, he's just chilling. He's having a drink.
Look at that, 2 of them down here with Steves as well, I believe, the both. So that does leave QConfirm quite a few in the late round, and like Coppolas finds yet another pick. This is just falling apart for Wildcard as they desperately drop. Nice shot though, Geo. 2v3 still winnable, but they've got to go large. It's just Silex and Geo. Silex put down to just about nothing, and the final cleaning crew comes through from Hajime. That's QConfirm, another round in the tally.
Good round there from Confirmed, and I actually failed to really realize that they were actually defending mining there, so that's probably in most books the 4th most or the least played site here on Cafe. So good off-meta win there for QConfirm to give themselves a lead in this of one. That's of course with 1 round remaining in the half, and it looks like Bar Cocktail will get a replay here from QConfirmed. This has been an interesting site so far. We've seen Wildcard attempt the traditional push from Lounge. They also tried to do a cocktail clear that was unsuccessful on the last occasion. So it poses the question on what are they going to do this round? Because it doesn't feel like between those two, QConfirm actually changed anything on their end.
Yeah, very much so. Surely Wildcard just go for that piano side push.
Attackers need to locate
I feel
and
like
defuse bombs.
with the way that Jaeger and Wamai are at the moment, Wildcard have plenty of utility. Like you play the cheeky little maths game. You count how many projectiles Wildcard have and how many projectiles QConfirm could catch. So Wamai can have, I believe, up to 4 magnets, and the earlier you start them, the less he'll have. Jaeger has only got 2 ADSs there, so that's, he might even chuck a 3rd one down. Maybe, thinking about it. But that leaves Wildcard only, what, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 maximum projectiles they got to burn through. They got 6 stun grenades alone. Just chuck in all the stuns. Chuck in a maybe there's a Sophia lifeline. Like, you have so much redundancy there. Just to clear that shield. Then just follow that up. Make sure you punish that player and kill him before he can retreat.
Perimeter defense active.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think the clearance of the utility should be too challenging if timed correctly. I guess the only thing that would be a detriment to Wildcard is because of how deep that player is actually playing in Pixel, they'll clear it, but they won't even find the pick, and then they won't have that utility for late round. But I still think it's such a key position that you must have no matter what, that it's worth it, despite having the struggles late round. Another thing to keep in mind as well is Producer Boom again is playing this Warden. We've seen quite a bit of Warden so far from QConfirmed, which basically nullifies the smokes that I'm presuming Emo Rune's bringing to the board. So sure, he used them to try and get Scarlet drops previously, but he needs to be careful that Producer Boom doesn't shut him down if he goes for it again.
Warden's a great pick here. Not only is he a good fragger with the 1.5 on the MPX, but it's got shield. You need someone to have a shield. Plus, yeah, it does counter those smoke pushes.
Oh, they did it.
Really
they listened.
Effective.
Woo!
That was just so beautiful, wasn't it? That was classic Wildcard, but a little bit tighter. They didn't waste half the round this time.
Yeah, really nice. No one took any damage.
Located a bomb.
No one was under threat. Like, and I'm assuming they'll look to repel in nice and quickly here. Sure, there's still a player in washrooms, but I think there's a drone watching that swing, so they shouldn't be too worried. Pat and Vinny, they drop red. They'll try and get control of shop. And I think it's only a matter of time before they really start to put the heat on this player inside of washrooms. They've only done a single reinforcement on this occasion, so they need to be mindful of the swing. But Wildcard, I'm sure, will be able to get some hard fighting out pretty quickly.
Oh, there's Vinny going downstairs, takes down Producer Boom, the Roma off the board, but Lycolis has found Salix in the meanwhile. That's all the hard reach that Wildcard have available. Salix is going to have to watch drones from here on out. Joe looking to get into Piano, but there's just so many angles to watch. Emo's above the skylight. Vinny starts to get in the game as well. With just under a minute remaining, a player goes down, and that's another one. Pat finally finished off Hajime.
Oh!
What is that? He's going nasty. Now it's just Gio. He finds another kill, but 3 players left. This is a tall order, even for a player as talented as he is. Walks straight into that crossfire and swung from the other side. That is the half for QConfirm. 4 rounds in a row.
Very, very strong rounds there from QConfirm. They get the lead on defense. I would make the argument that currently FaZe should be pretty heavily leaning in towards the attack. I would 4-2 flip would probably be more common for the rest of the season across most of the regions. So that is a bit of a warning sign for me for Wildcard. By no means unwinnable from here, don't get me wrong, but they have a pretty steep mountain to climb, and QConfirmed are looking pretty hot right now, to be completely honest. It feels like no matter what Wildcard try to the table, QConfirmed are countering that. Whether they're intentionally or it's a bit of that unpredictability factor coming into play, either way, it's working. So QConfirmed will be pretty happy right now.
Yeah, and funnily enough, without even once touching that kitchen bomb site downstairs, which is for a lot of teams the secondary bomb site.
Defenders protect.
Pretty amazing how QConfirm got straight back on the horse after Wildcard won those first 2 rounds, and it's been the good day ever since then. It's just 4 straight rounds. They well and truly had that momentum, and now they switch on to the attack. Really going to have to see Wildcard grow a backbone, I guess, to really to this, because they just haven't looked competitive with QConfirm. They might have finally started to be a bit faster in the latter rounds there and start to make some progress and check the tick boxes, but definitely hasn't been what we were hoping from Wildcard.
5 seconds remaining.
I'm tearing up a little bit seeing Salix on the donut. I have faith. He is a bit of a king on the smoke. I mean, he was definitely like the OG Diesel, right? He was the smoke player for OCE. So if there's anywhere he's going to feel comfortable, it's probably here. And there's plenty of spots to smoke and play on cafes. So hopefully he'll be able to find some comfort, find a couple of picks. I don't think that's necessarily... I'm not saying he's the reason that Wildcard are losing here. There's definitely been some questionable strategic decisions and executes that haven't gone there. But of course, having a player on a donut never really helps. So hopefully he can find himself in this one.
Yeah, I think Wildcard are playing their methodical game a bit slower than usual, and QConfirm are playing loosely really well. Like, as soon as QConfirm take an advantage, like for example, as soon as they take out player in a position, we saw Immerin go down on the skylight. As soon as that happened, QConfirm play into that. They know, okay, there's no one on the skylight now, so I can play a bit more aggressive in bar. And QConfirm just playing really well with lead, but of course it's easy to do that on the defense. On the attack, you really have to be impeccable, have really fast and accurate communication. So I'm curious to see whether they can keep that momentum going, because if there's anywhere QConfirm starts to falter, it's right here. But here's the Gon 6!
Here we
Our
go.
first showcase of the Gon 6, I believe. The main Rainbow Six channel. Trying to clear that shield, but I believe it was burned by the ADS. That's alright, he's still got 2 nades. We'll see if he can use them.
I'd like to see QConfirm stack this a little bit harder. It feels like it's only Dark Tree this solo, which isn't really the play considering all the work. That said though, Hajime comes along, the concussions will help out. Nade gets sent out, Smoke is a little bit late to push him back, and the shield should take him down, and is Flames as well. Emirin forced to fall back as he takes a little bit of damage. But QConfirmed only have a minute to work with now.
Yeah, both of the shields taken out as well. But Emirin, he's so keen here. Happy to take the fight. Actually just barely dodges that shot to the chest, but couple more land his way. He is completely stuck in this corner between a rock and a hard place. The flashbangs to come through. Surely long for this world. How much longer can he survive? We still have a player in backstore with the shield. Finally, Emo falls, but it may be too late for QConfirm.
Really good time sync there from Wildcard. 30 seconds left now for attackers. Like Colas takes washrooms, might push down Whitehall and try and find some picks in towards Cocktail. Producer Boom on the window as well to shut down this side of the map as they crouch forward. 2 of them going for picks. Roldini finds one. Like Colas gets in on the action. Vinny now in a 1-on-5. It's all gone upside down here for Wildcard, and Vinny is shut down on the rotate. It's clinical from QConfirmed, and they take the round.
That was absolutely nuts from Lycolas. He just sends it. And that was beautiful. QConfirm have each other's backs, sending it down the white hallway, shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, and ready to play off of each other. What a way to take advantage of a bad situation. They didn't have a rotate even from washrooms into backstore. They had to funnel. They committed. And you know what they say? If 5 people commit to a bad plan, that's better than 5 different people committing to 5 different good plans. And that is exactly what just happened for QConfirm. They said, look, we're in a rubbish situation. Let's just do something silly, but let's do it together. And amazing.
Yeah, they basically just linked arms and said, well, we haven't really got any other options, so let's just send it in there. And hey, it worked. I mean, it's probably one of those scenarios where it's a bit of a 50-50. Maybe on another day, Wildcard would have been able to shut that down pretty easily. But QConfirm, they just continued to stack that momentum. Sure, it happened in the space of about 5 or 10 seconds, but it really put the pressure on Wildcard. I thought that maybe Emirin did enough there and wasted enough time inside of the lounge, but QConfirmed, they don't need much time to get the job done, and that round proves it.
Surely this is starting to rattle the Wildcard boys. QConfirm have the momentum. They're just rolling like an avalanche, and I just don't see Wildcard being able to stop that anytime soon. 5-2 is far from over, but I don't think this game has a lot left in it.
Attackers are moving.
Ooh, that's a big call. You reckon?
I think this is starting to slide. If Wildcard could have taken that first round, maybe I would have felt differently, but QConfirm, even when they're dealt a bad hand, they can come back. We'll have to see whether Wildcard can change something mid-game and really start to get some confidence back, because they're just falling to pieces.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty brave for Wildcard to reattempt this site, right? Because if they lose it, QConfirmed will get 6 rounds, they'll claim match point, and that finds himself in a little bit of trouble. Not sure what happened there to Lycolas, but he'll be right. He'll shake that off. Still, of course, has those stumbles he can use later in the round.
Probably not going to be going and just getting a 3k on the site this time, Lycolas, not with that much HP. Who knows?
Probably not.
I do like that we've got Pat roaming downstairs though in train and mining. He made that vert hole. That's so he can throw a C4 through the floor all the way into Cigar Shop. Takes down any player basically. That thing's like a nuke. Really just deal damage to anyone stacking up in there.
Dark roaming down below on the Yana. Pat close by. They're going to be in an engagement very shortly, and it's Dark to win that one. 50 HP still remaining. Pat caught off guard there. I believe the drone serving as a very good distraction. QConfirm now with that man advantage. They played off it well last round, and they'll look to follow that up once again here in round number 8.
The Gon 6 rattles out again. Really caught by an ADS, I believe. And here comes the util. Oh, that's the team flash, unfortunately. His nade to follow through. The concussions as well. Got to get that nade out before it's burnt.
Oh!
And there he goes. No, what? Okay, Silex managed to gas out.
He got a kill.
Woo! And that's his first. Well, who needs to have mechanical skill when you can just gas people? Good on him, but he 4v3 still advantage QConfirm.
Same amount of pressure being applied here from the white window as well as lounge, and we may well confirm try to commit down white hallway. Once again, that said, the kit's over towards shop, and maybe they'll go for a more default plan. We'll have to see. As time continues to tick down, QConfirm will need to make a decision now. What do they try and commit to? More pressure now being applied over towards Freeze as Hajime finds himself inside of Washroom. If they find one more pick here, which they do, surely the round will be over.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
Silex has found his second. Digging his heels in, trying his best. In Freezer, pushed onward, all up to Geo. He doesn't last much longer, and that is match point for QConfirm, running away with this map.
Very much feel like this one is slipping away in QConfirm. They're really just toying with their here. That's what it feels like. They are playing classic Thai Siege. They are running in deep, swinging as wide as they possibly can, and finding these picks. And it's not just frags, their util clearance has also actually been really, really strong. That pixel position, they've been clearing it with ease time and time and time again. So expect Wildcard to switch things up. They do, we'll head to Reading and Fireplace, but there's no looking back now for Wildcard. They need to win 4 rounds straight if they want to get this one to OT and at least secure something in this matchup.
For QConfirm, they're just playing so well right now. Everything that comes up, like you said, whether it's clearing the util at Pixel, they're doing that better than Wildcard did. Whether it comes to dealing with those roamers, we're also seeing them do that as well. Now, in some cases, I feel like those were 50-50 fights. For example, Dark versus Pat downstairs, the roamer that round, I feel like that was pretty much a 50-50. Dark was lucky to win that. Sometimes it does just come down to, you know, if that gunfight had gone Pat's way, there probably wouldn't have been a refrag from QConfirm, and Pat would have been downstairs still, more time, and play with the sim board there. So, in a way, it's a lot of little things, but QConfirm just look more comfortable. And they're not afraid. They're absolutely not afraid to take 50-50 fights, and they're not afraid to really abuse their man advantages. Once they do have one, they'll just send people into all sides, try and drag each other out. It's overwhelming, Wildcard.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
Yeah. Part of me is kind of wishing that I stuck with my QConfirm prediction because it is to be the likely in this matchup. And full credit to QConfirm in a very strong map so far in Wildcard. Their wounds are exposed. Would this have been a different story with Diesel on the squad? We'll never know the answer to that, but has been a disappointing performance from them so far. Still an opportunity to make something of this map, but it's looking increasingly unlikely.
I also wonder, would this map look any differently with healthcare on the board for QConfirm instead of Dark? Because on paper, healthcare would have been a massive upgrade, but they didn't perform amazingly in the SI quals. Oh, here's the pick. Lycolis reveals his position though. Now Wildcard know about it. This is a nasty, nasty angle through the drone hole, but he can't see anything.
I think he has a good amount of control of Train. Yeah, he's already opening up the walls next to the fireplace. The hatch above inside of the lounge hasn't been popped, so he's not really under any sort of pressure. Sure, Wildcard might be able to gain the intel and pop that later, but that is a significant amount of the map that they've already opened up here on the attack, and Roldini finding that pick onto Emo Win should kickstart some momentum into this round.
We know how good QConfirm are once they get those man advantages. Minute 30 remaining on the clock. Pat opens up another line of sight. Those smokes seemingly just a bait by QConfirm. They've got top control now, and they've got so much going for them. There's two more picks. It is falling apart, and here it is. It all comes down to Geo downstairs. They know where he is. He finds one. The trade comes through. QConfirm very easily deal with Wildcard 7-2.
That's a big statement made by QConfirm. They get their first win in their first match of Wildcard. Well, they're in a little bit of trouble, it would seem. Great performance there from the Thai team. And a pretty clinical result in the end, I've got to say. Well played, good balance of util, clear, and aggression. It was some fun siege to watch.
Certainly was. Massive performances